Chairman Issa and I have worked together on the next step in our step-by-step approach to doing immigration reform that is badly needed in all three areas of legal immigration reform, enforcement, and finding the appropriate legal status for those people who are not lawfully present in the United States. And we are hard at work on that. This is the fourth bill that has been introduced in the House. One of those is the Homeland Security's border security bill, but we have also introduced in the House an agricultural guest worker bill, an E-Verify bill, and now the Skills Visa Act. And we think that we have taken what was a very good piece of legislation in the last Congress and made it a lot better. And we're excited about that. We are addressing not just the problems that we have with the need to have more immigrant visas based upon skilled employment. And if you look at countries around the world that have a need for more STEM workers in science, technology, engineering, and math, and related tech fields, it is very, very important that we acknowledge that countries like Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia have a much higher percentage of their immigrant visas issued for people that are needed in their workforce to grow the economy and create jobs. All three of those countries are in the 60 to 70% range based upon job skills, education, and job offers. In the United States, that percentage for all employment-based green cards is only 12%, and of those, half of those are the family members of the workers. So only 6% of the nearly 1.1 million green cards that are issued in the United States each year go to people whose skills and work capabilities are needed in the United States. This legislation will move us in the direction that we need to be going, and at the same time provide greater encouragement to people in the United States already, particularly United States citizens who have the desire to have these jobs, because we will put a focus and an emphasis on making sure that additional resources are going to promote STEM education in the country, and we will make sure that we are doing what needs to be done to make sure that U.S. citizens are not in any way priced out of the marketplace. This will rely upon having fair market being paid for the workers who are getting visas coming to the United States. But the other key thing is that we're going to address this both from the standpoint of immigrant visas and non-immigrant visas. We need both, and we need to have both of them work together in a way that helps to assure that when a company or even a startup has somebody that is critical to their work, they have the ability to keep them after their H-1 visa, their 6-year visa, is expiring. And finally, we want to put an emphasis on this being for the really important, great American companies that need skilled workers to make sure they keep their workforces in the United States and grow jobs for American citizens that way as well. But we also want to encourage startups. And so this legislation will work in the direction of making sure that people that come out of great American universities and don't go to work for a big company, but have an investor-backed startup, that startup can access those people. And it may be the person with the great idea who's creating the startup that needs this. That is an engine of growth in our economy as well. And so I'm very excited about this legislation, and I am equally excited about the fact that Congressman Issa, a very important member of our committee, who is also letting us use his committee hearing room for this event, because we're getting ready for a markup next door, is taking the lead on this issue. He has been a leader on technology issues, a leader in working in the tech sector, and knows the importance of having the appropriate workforce for the growth of that sector and keeping as many jobs as possible in that sector in the United States. So at this point, I'm pleased to turn it over to Darrell Issa.
Thank you, Chairman. 12 years ago, I left my private sector life and came to Congress and asked to be on the Judiciary Committee for 2 reasons. One is, and many of you in the audience know, that's where patent and copyright is decided. The other, quite frankly, was immigration reform. I come from San Diego, an area that has two of the major areas that we all know about in these various bills. One, of course, is agricultural. We have a permanent need for temporary workers, something another part of the chairman's work is helping to rectify. But we're also Telecom Gulch. We're also the southern end of Silicon Valley. We're also an area with great universities that educate wonderful, motivated young people every year from around the world. They're motivated, and they've proven that they're willing to take their ambition and turn it into performance and capability, and then we invite them to leave. That has to stop. That's just wrong. The American dream is a combination of ambition and sweat, ambition and ability, ambition, desire, and a demonstration that you're coming to America to make America better, in addition to making your own future and your life better. That's what I believe the differences that we've been able to incorporate in the Skill Visa Act does. It not only recognizes something that is recognized from the far left to the far right, and that is that when people go down and they receive that master's or PhD in math or science, or home to biotech in San Diego, life sciences, and it's hard to pronounce their name, they may still have a little accent, but they're the best and the brightest from around the world, and they recognize they can do more for the world in the U.S. in finding the next DNA sequence cure, in finding the next great breakthrough in electronics, doing the next great program that changes people's lives in the U.S., and yet we don't let them stay. Additionally, for all the years that companies I knew and my own company used H-1Bs, we all knew that we hired most of these high-skilled individuals with the intent to keep them. So the day they arrived, we started trying to figure out how to take temp to perm, and yet there hasn't been a good enough pathway. Although I'm not satisfied that it'll ever be a good enough pathway to keep all the best and the brightest, this bill recognizes that any surplus from the STEM portion of this for American graduates will be rolled into these individuals that we already know. Industry knows, America knows we want to keep these individuals. And it changes the whole perspective of somebody coming on an H-1B. No more will it be, maybe I will, maybe I won't. If somebody arrives and says, I want to go to work, I've got capability, and as I demonstrated, I want to be an American, they'll know that that dream is not so chancy, that they won't be strung out for 8, 9, 10 years, but rather the pathway will be much more predictable and the time shorter. We want to take your questions, but I think that whether Chairman Goodlatte's work on one end or the other, whether it's enforcement, whether it's ag jobs, whether it's, if you will, family reunification reform, any of these other areas, I think Chairman Goodlatte has done something in the Balancing Act that no other chairman has done as honestly. He's not trying to reduce one person from coming to the U.S. What he's trying to recognize is that a country that invites more people to come to America than all the rest of the world combined each year should look at that number and reshuffle that number to make it make sense for the American people. Because ultimately, most of immigration is not about the immigrant. Quite frankly, it's about America. America is welcoming people, and just as we'd welcome them to our businesses or our home, we should be able to make that welcome mat sensible. There are 7 billion people in the world. I think Chairman Goodlatte has recognized that for the few million that come to America, we need to make the right decisions and be fair in the process. So not only on this, but on the entire bill, I'm excited that we really have we really have an opportunity to do something in a thoughtful way, in a way in which the sum of the parts is what we'll be dealing with in the House, rather than a combined bill done behind closed doors. So, Mr. Chairman, I know we have other speakers. Thank you again. I want to take this opportunity to personally thank you, and then also thank the high-tech leaders that are here. Thank you.
Thank you. And who has the list of, we do have some representatives of organizations and great companies who see the importance of this legislation. And come on up and introduce yourselves.
Good morning. I'm Beneva Schulte, the Executive Director of Inspire STEM USA. We're a broad-based coalition made up of companies like Intel, Microsoft, Toyota, Caterpillar, as well as education groups like the chief school officers and the school administrators, and civil rights groups like LULAC. And our support, we thank you both for your leadership in this issue. It's very important to us that we link not only the short-term problem of high-tech visas now and H-1B visas, but also with a long-term solution for STEM funding and computer science funding. So the fact that this bill does that is important to us. We're very supportive of it, and I'm very pleased that there is a commitment and some leadership in the House to show that a STEM fund is very important for the future of our country.
Hello, I'm Ed Black, President and CEO of Computer and Communications Industry Association, and I'd really like to thank the great leadership shown by our two great chairmen here. This issue has been an issue. My gray hair gives it away. I've been in the high-tech industry a long time. It's always been an issue. We want talent. The industry has demonstrated at the CEO level, at the mid-level, at the entry level, that we really utilize well, to the benefit of the American economy, talented people. The legislation that is being promoted here is, in fact, an important step that we have sought in many ways and over the years in different fashion. But its goal is one I think there is tremendous unity behind. My association represents computing, communications, internet companies. There is not dissent that attracting talent, keeping talent is vital to our way forward. And I think all of the various studies that have done on our industry, on the economy, on the tech industry, demonstrate the way in which the contribution has been very significant by those who have chosen to come to America, be part of the American dream, and hopefully become Americans. And I want to very much thank again our chairman for their leadership on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Consumer Electronics Association, which I head, I'm Gary Shapiro, President and CEO, has 2,000 technology companies, just most of Americans' high-tech companies and retailers, and 80% are smaller business. And we're united in support of immigration reform because it is who we are as a country. It's because we're starting to see things like what appeared recently in Silicon Valley. Canada has a billboard saying, you have H-1B problems, come to us, we'll welcome you. I travel around the world promoting innovation and promoting CEA's 2 books on innovation and our innovation movement. Other countries have figured it out, what we're doing, and they're going after our best and brightest people. They're stealing our future from us. It's about time we did something about it. This legislation does that. We support it. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Andy Halatai with the Information Technology Industry Council. We're 52 of the leading companies in the ITC sector. Very grateful for Chairman Issa and Chairman Goodlatte's leadership on this legislation. Our companies know all too well our experiences with the immigration system. We're trying to do our innovation and keep our jobs here at home. This year, the H-1B cap, I think, was reached in about 5 days. Each and every one of our companies has job opening after job opening that we cannot fill. We are taking foreign-born students, educating them, and then deporting them when their education is done to come work against us. This bill is a tremendous down payment and keeping the U.S. as an innovation leader, filling those jobs here. As Gary mentioned with the Canadian billboard, that billboard is located right outside of SFO. When you come into the Valley, the Canadian immigration minister just finished a 4 or 5 day swing through the Valley. He knows what we know, that it's better to keep people here to innovate and grow jobs at home. They would love to have those jobs, and I think Chairman Goodlatte and Chairman Issa know we're best keeping them here to grow our economy and do our innovation here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh.
Sorry. Timing is everything.
It is. I'm sitting on the other side, but I'm actually on their side, too. I won't take long. I think a lot of people have covered the ground pretty thoroughly here. I'm Scott Corley with Compete America. We're a coalition of all these organizations and many more in the university space. We're really very pleased with what we're seeing in the House. We have two great leaders. This isn't a new relationship for us. Both of these men are well known to our industry, and we're extremely proud that they have decided to take this issue on for us. We have a crisis on our hands. We're standing on the precipice of real opportunity for jobs in America, and we're saying no with our inaction and changing this immigration system. These gentlemen are helping us say yes with the bill that they introduced. We're going to continue to work with them to get this bill through the House, to get something to the President's desk and finally settle this issue. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be happy to take questions from members of the media.